Okay, Survivor tier list. Survivor tier list. Okay, Survivor tier list for season 27. Okay, here we go. It hasn't changed too much since last season. But to start off, do I need D tier? Let's see, D, C, B. Nah, we don't need a D. We'll just go straight into C tier here. We'll go C, B, A plus, and S. Okay, so S tier. Okay, so it's like this. So S tier, obviously the best characters in the game, best early round characters, best bans for hunters, best rank survivors, best tournament characters, etc. A plus, very good tournament, very good rank. Again, pretty much always used, pretty much always banned. A is going to be characters that are usually good in later rounds in tournaments, and also very good in rank as well. B tier, very situational later rounds tournaments, and then also decent in rank, but not too good. I wouldn't really recommend. Probably only one B tier character per rank team. Same with C tier, except C tier is just worse B tier. Okay, got it? Yay. All right. Here we go. So C tier. First character in C tier is... we're actually going to just do this on the fly. I think this is actually a better way because we can actually talk about it and sort of analyze this a little bit better so we don't get a lot of people complaining like, oh, these characters suck. Okay, worst character in the game. Nobody hate me for this, but it is the truth. Is Mind's Eye. Mind's Eye is bad. I mean, you guys know Mind's Eye is bad. I probably don't need to explain it. Basically, with Mind's Eye, you have slow vaulting speed. A lot of hunters can just sort of destroy Mind's Eye quickly. Even if you hide as Mind's Eye, you're able to rotate the hunter. They can turn quenching effect and teleport on Mind's Eye. The argument is, oh, I can see through walls. Well, nobody cares. That does nothing. You just vault too slow. This is why a character like Mechanic is better, because Mechanic has got buffs, so she vaults, I think, 15% slow, right? And then if you have the trait, it lets you vault at no debuff, whereas Mind's Eye still vaults slowly. If you don't find Mind's Eye, you probably will. If you kill someone quickly and don't find Mind's Eye, it's probably a tie. If you find Mind's Eye, you lose as survivors. This is how bad Mind's Eye is, guys. Okay? If you find Mind's Eye first, you win as Hunter. You literally just win the game because you kill. Like, you can have the arguments like, oh, I'm good at kiting with Mind's Eye. Well, at that point, wouldn't you be kiting even better with good kiting characters, right? People, yeah, Arcane Reveals Location too. People, there's a lot of logic. People, this is the Mind's Eye player logic. I'm not meaning to be toxic. It's just the truth. People are like, I kite well with Mind's Eye, but if you play a character like Acrobat, you kite even better. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's sort of the logic. So, okay, I just had to get that. Yeah, we had to get out of the way. Okay, next character is bada bing, bada boom. Lucky Guy. Okay, Lucky Guy is bad. Lucky Guy, we actually saw used once in tournament. But I think it was like once the whole year or something. Again, C tier, B tier we said is very situational characters for late round tournaments and usually not that viable. Honestly, Mind's Eye is just D tier. Like, I'm sorry for all the Mind's Eye players, but like, it's literally just that. No, I guess I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna do that. But yeah, is Lucky Guy. The problem with Lucky Guy is if you stop to search chests and stuff, then my mouse stopped on Acrobat for too long. Then the time it takes to search chests, your decoding speed gets slowed down a lot because you're not cipher rushing as fast. And then your flare gun stun is also a lot shorter compared to coordinator, so it's just not as strong. So that's sort of the problem there. It's just overall pretty Lucky guys overall just pretty weak, unfortunately. So next character in C tier is, and the last character, I think there's only 3 in C tier. Where is it? Doctor. Doctor is bad. The problem with Doctor is, you got a whole tier just for mindset. The problem with Doctor is that she's okay, so here's the thing with Doctor. She gets a veterans bonus when she gets hit, right? So you want to use that to get a speed boost to get really far away. But then the problem is, if you're doing that, you're not using your heal. A lot of Doctors will take a hit and they'll start to heal right away while the Hunter's in attack recovery. But if you're doing that, you're not getting your veterans bonus. So your abilities are like just counterintuitive, right? Like, it doesn't make any sense. Lawyer is better than Mind's Eye? Yeah, Lawyer is better. Lucky Guy is also very RNG for sure. So that's about with Doctor is that, and she's only really good against specific, like most Hunters will just pressure her fast. Like you'll take a hit. It's a stationary heal. This is why Barmaid's better, because she can heal while running away, whereas Doctor just can't do that. So Doctor's C tier. She's only good against like Photo and Mad Eyes and stuff. Like, it's not really that good. Okay, moving on to the next tier, which is B tier. The first character. Oh wait, no, one more character in C tier. Sorry, hold up. Painter. Last character in C tier is Painter. Painter is not very strong. Like I've said it before, he's viable late rounds in tournament in very situational spots, but just not very good overall. Not a great rank survivor. Good Hunters can easily play around Painter. You can just look around the painting, and that's how it goes. Oh, Hermit as well. Yeah, Doctor's very specific. Absolutely. Random Doctors exist. Yeah, Barmaid's just better. Psychologist is better for sure. So Painter, it's very easy for players to just look around the painting. And even when they don't look around, the painting stun is not even that long compared to a coordinator flare gun. So Painter is just not that strong. And you need to see the Hunter's face before you can use it anyways. So Painter's just not very strong at all. Also, random Painters, you know, they're just not cutting it. So that's that. Okay, moving on to the next tier, which is B tier. First character in B tier, let's see here, is probably Gardner. All right, that's easy. Gardner is, again, very situational, not very good. She's only decent on certain maps where chairs are like you can die with Tide Turn. You can die very far away from rocket chairs. Guys, Painter is not good. Painter is not good. I'm so sorry, guys. Like, I know a lot of you guys like Painter, but Painter is just so weak in high tier. In high tier, Painter is just so weak. Yeah, Painter is free. Is so easy kill for a lot of Hunters. Novelist is worse than Painter. No. Novelist is not the... Okay, so the thing with Novelist is that Novelist is like a guaranteed control, and like Novelist can make the Hunter actually walk away. So if Novelist rescues someone, then uses the ability to like pull the Hunter far away and like walk away, you take control for 5 seconds. I think it's 5 seconds for Novelist, right? Which is longer than the Painter stun. And then also you push the Hunter away from the rescued survivor. So Novelist helps the survivor rebound so well, whereas Painter, only his stun is just too short for that. So Novelist is actually better for that reason. Novelist can help someone rebound and get them a ton of distance, whereas Painter, the distance the Painter allows for the survivor is just nowhere near as good. He is fun. Painter is fun. He's just not very strong in competitive situations. Novelist isn't allowed in tournaments because he's too glitchy. Okay, so the next character in B tier is Gardner. And then Gardner is good because... Gardner's not good, but Gardner's situational. Gardner's good on Leo's memory because if you die in the upstairs part of factory on the outside, you can break the chair at the bottom of the stairs, and it's hard for them to get to a chair in time before they struggle free. You can also break the chair in Red Church. If they die on the inside corner of Church, you can break the chair there, and that's pretty good as well. And Gardner also used to be good on Hospital, but they added that shared near Hospital, like right outside the entrance to Hospital, and now she's not as good. So she's really only good in like Red Church and Leo's Memory. But yeah, overall not too bad. She's decent against Clerk. If you're able to camp a pallet and go for a mind game, the pallet allows you to get a bubble as well, which can absorb a hit. So she's pretty good against Clerk. And yeah, overall Gardner's not too bad. It's just like once her bubble's gone, her kiting is not that good. A lot of most hunters in the game can pressure you into not allowing you to get your bubble, and it's not that good. Very weak to something like Bonbon as well. So, Painter's Painting isn't even a big deal. Yeah, it's only a few seconds. It's not even 4 to 5. It's like 4 to 5. Yeah, Painter's Painting is not forgetting. Also, hunters can just not look at it. Hunters can literally just not look at it. Like, literally, Painter goes for a rescue. Assuming he was able to look at the hunter's face before, he goes for a rescue, puts down the painting. The hunter can literally just change their camera angle and walk away from it. You know, whereas Novelist is guaranteed. But that's why. But Gardner, yeah, is just a low B tier survivor. Okay, next survivor in B tier is. Let's see what do we got here. Magician. Next survivor in B tier is Magician. Joggy's not gonna be very happy with that, but Magician's not very good against the current meta. Not too good against Naiad. Not too good against. Not good against Anne. We've seen Anne sort of pick up recently as a good tie hunter. Definitely not good against Anne. Also is not very good against Bonbon as well. Chip hunter is kind of hard because you can just drop. You can just go for a bunch of bomb chips. And even if you illusion, you could still get hit pretty easily. So Magician's just not very good against that. Choggy's, yeah, not very good against Dreamwitch as well. Not even that good against Nightwatch unless it's a good map for him. But it depends. Big open maps are hard for Magician to play against Nightwatch. Smaller maps are easier. So Magician's pretty good, but he's just not good against the current meta, and that's what makes him a B tier survivor. Nightwatch can yoink him even when he's illusion. Yeah, for sure. That's another problem. Okay, next survivor in B tier is Explorer. Explorer is actually decent. Like, I know you guys are gonna be like, Explorer is good. Explorer is decent, but the biggest issue with Explorer is that he's inconsistent in that sometimes your page spawns really far away. Like, if you play Explorer on a map like Lakeside Village, theoretically that's really good, right? Because like there's a lot of places to hide, which is great, right? But the problem is that what if your page spawns on the other side of the map and you have to go across the entire map to get your page? You lose so much decoding time, right? So that's kind of a problem with Explorer. If your pages spawn really far away, it's really bad. Also, what if your pages spawn near the hunter? Again, not good. I'm shocked Clown hasn't been mentioned. Clown's not too bad. We'll get to Clown in a bit. Clown's actually pretty decent. So that's sort of the problem with Explorer is he's inconsistent. If you spawn near your page and it's not near the hunter, then that's great, right? But if you spawn away from your page, or the page spawns near the hunter, that's really bad. He's simultaneously great and terrible at the same time. So he's a little bit luck based, which is not great. And that's what makes him a low B tier survivor. Typically we would have put Lawyer in by now, but Lawyer's actually become pretty good, surprisingly. I think Lawyer is next. Let me just make sure there's nobody else that needs to go in front of Lawyer. Yeah, no. The next survivor in B tier is Lawyer. And Lawyer is honestly, I would have had Lawyer a lot lower, but MX proved to me that Lawyer's pretty good. Lawyer is actually pretty good. Yeah, just the ability to see through walls while kiting is nice. When you take a hit, you get an insane veterans bonus, and you can't get terror shocked. So if you have broken windows on Lawyer and you vault a window to get a speed boost, and then would have gotten terror shocked, obviously you won't get terror shocked because you're a Lawyer, but you would have gotten terror shocked. You get the veterans bonus plus the window vaulting bonus, and you make a ton of distance. So against a hunter that struggles against transition kiting, that can be very good. So against a hunter like Geisha, obviously that's going to be very bad. Lawyer's going to suck against a hunter like Geisha. Lawyer sucks against turn hunters. Like, he's going to suck against a hunter like Nightwatch that can close distance.
So he's going to be good. Lawyer's very good against something like Clerk, right? Because you can take a hit and make a lot of distance. But against something like against something like Night Watch, it's not very good. Against something like Geisha, it's not very good. Against Bonbon's pretty good if you make a lot of distance. It really just depends, but against certain hunters, just not very good. Against a hunter like Naiad, not very good. Naiad can just swim and catch up right away. So again, in this current meta, Lure is very bad, but he's actually not bad overall, right? He's not a bad rank survivor necessarily, because he can decode fast, and he can see the hunter is and allow for rotation and whatnot. So Lawyer is not bad, but he's just not very good in this meta, and that's what makes him a B tier survivor. Lawyer is usable because of good command, using him for counter rotation. True. You be a true psycho to play that good with Lawyer. MX is cracked, dude. Okay. Next survivor in B tier is, let's see here, Prisoner. Next survivor in B tier is Prisoner. Okay, so Prisoner is sort of just like a bad composer. He's sort of just like a bad composer. So Prisoner is good against... He's not really good against anything. Like, his decoding obviously is not bad, but... Like, I don't really want to explain Prisoner. Like, it's just so hard for me to explain. Like, but Prisoner is like... His kiting is just not as good as Composer. Composer is just a better version of Prisoner. Like, Prisoner before was decent, right? But Composer is literally just like a better Prisoner. He's a better kiter. Has good Cypher Rush. Why would you not just play Composer over Prisoner, right? So Prisoner's gonna need, Prisoner's very situational, and even then not too great. So his kiting is not really that strong. If you don't have good communication with your teammates, he gets found early. That's really bad. I hate Prisoner in rank. It's so true. Actually, so true. Why is there 2 Embers? I guess for both skins. I don't know. Maybe in case people want to do like a skin tier list. And his decoding bonuses aren't even that good, so it just makes him not too strong overall. Okay, we're going to try to go through this a little bit quicker so I don't make you guys lose interest. The next survivor in B tier is Enchantress. And Enchantress is also not very good in this meta. She's pretty good against something like Bonbon because of Chip Hunter, but and also against something like Geisha. She's actually pretty decent against Night Watch. Actually, you know what? Let's hold off on Enchantress for now. She's pretty good against Night Watch, so we're not gonna use her just yet, or we're not gonna throw her in just yet. She's a little bit higher than that now that I think about it. She's not very good against something like Dream Witch, but she is good against something like Night Watch, and Geisha. So we'll hold off on Enchantress for a little bit here, and then we'll go next character is Cowboy. And Cowboy is, obviously we don't really see Cowboy used in tournaments. He's really only good on like Red Church, kind of, right? And so so Cowboy is sort of really only good on a map like Red Church in reality. And then kiting wise, hunters like Night Watch can kill him his transition kiting against Night Watch is not good. Night Watch is very good at chasing Cowboy. Geisha is very good at chasing Cowboy. Drew, which can easily double patroller Cowboy. He's good against kiting Clerk and Bonbon, but that's it. Bad against... he's decent against Naiad, but Patience is better. And then he's bad at kiting Night Watch, and he's bad at kiting against that one hunter that I literally just said, and I'm already forgetting. Geisha. So, there you go. Cowboy. Good harasser on Church. Besides that, not too great. Okay. Next hunter in B tier is Novelist. And Novelist, obviously, we don't see in tournaments because Novelist is glitchy on the tournament servers, so they don't allow Night Watch in tournaments. And so that's why we don't see a lot of Novelist. However, Novelist is pretty decent rescue character. His kiting is not great because if you control the hunter can just walk after, use the Novelist to control the Novelist to walk back into you, and you don't really make distance. But Novelist can be good at supporting rebound kites. Because the Novelist can go for a rescue, And then you can control the hunter and move them away from the survivor and allow them to rebound kite. And that forces the hunter to change targets to the novelist. So that's pretty good for survivors. But again, novelist is not allowed in tournaments because he's very glitchy. And a lot of people don't like to play novelist anyway. So yeah, novelist is just sort of mid B tier. Novelist is sort of mid. He's mid. Okay, moving on to the next survivor in BTA is Perfumer. Okay, Perfumer obviously is pretty decent rank survivor, but we actually don't see... Cowboy can create distance with his whip. Yeah, but it's very weak against something like Night Watch. It's very weak against something like Geisha. And a character like Night can catch up quickly. He could technically kite Night, but Patient is just a way better version of Cowboy, essentially. So so against Night Watch, which is the most common hunter in the game, just is really strong against Cowboy. Okay, next hunter is Perfumer. Next survivor, sorry, is Perfumer. Perfumer is also very situational. She's very good against Bloody Queen. Perfumer is one of the best characters in the game for kiting BQ. So if you know it's going to be a BQ, it's very good to go put Perfumer to sort of counter someone's the hunter's Bloody Queen. But the problem is she's very weak against Bonbon Chip Hunters. So very weak against Bonbon and Sculptor. Weak against Patroller Dream Witch. She's weak against what I don't know what other hunters in this game. Anne is very weak against Anne. She's good against Geisha, but she's really only good against like Geisha and Bloody Queen. She's not even that good against Night Watch, because if Night Watch goes for the win, you can use Night Watch to pull her close to you, and then she perfumes. You can bait out the perfume, and then the Night Watch can just win. Actually, you won't even use win. You save the win, you bait out the perfume, and then you win after when they're using the perfume, and then you just can hit them. So also Perfumer feeds presence. Yeah, that's also true. So that's not as good as well. No, she's not very good against Night Watch, because if Night Watch has presence, he baits out the perfume and then he dashes after her. He baits out the perfume and then he walks after her. If she goes perfumes back, he just dashes back and hits her. And then if you don't have presence, then you just bait out the perfume and then you just use the wind to sort of not allow her to run too far away and you get a free hit. And the perfume runs out of cooldown. Ripper good? No, Ripper's not that good. So Perfumer is actually not good against Night Watch in reality. But she is good against Geisha, and even Geisha's not great, but she's decent against Geisha, and she's very good against Bloody Queen, but besides that, not too good. Okay, so now we're going to throw an Enchantress into B tier here. Enchantress is the next character in B tier. Enchantress is it's good against characters like Bonbon. Obviously, Chip Hunters feeds presence. Can be good against Night Watch. You can't stop the wind ability and force to put it on cooldown if you go for a single stun. And then also she's good against Geisha as well. So she's actually pretty good against some of the meta hunters. But the problem is she's very weak against some other meta hunters. Like she's not very good against Naiad. She's not very good against Dream Witch. She's not very good against Anne. She's not very good against Bloody Queen, and so on. So if you know what type of hunter, she's not very good against Axeway, which is sort of seen a little bit more play in the meta. So that's why Enchantress is B tier. She's good against some of the meta hunters, but she's also very weak against some of the other ones. Perfumer's so pretty. I think she deserves a buff just for that. Yeah, Perfumer also doesn't provide support. So Enchantress can technically provide support, but Enchantress is very situational. So that's sort of the biggest problem with Enchantress. Let me just make sure there's nobody else that needs to be B tier here. There's a lot of A minus or a lot of A tier survivors. Actually, we're gonna do A minus and A plus. Let me just make sure there's nobody else here that I'm missing. Nope. We're good. All right. She's a Terra character.
Considering Japan's net is Night Watch, Enchantress is quite used there. But Enchantress has always been used in Japan. That's why. And if you see, the Night Watch is also meta in China, and they don't really use Enchantress that much. So that's something you have to consider as well. But that is a good point. I had a great Perfumer the other day against the Axway. Yeah, sometimes you get the good Perfumers, and it works out nicely. Okay, next tier, which is A- tier. First survivor in A- tier is... Let me just make sure we do this right. Yeah, that's good. Is LG. So Little Girl is very situational. She's only good, guys. When I put Little Girl at A- tier, I'm not putting it because she's good in rank. Little Girl is not. If you're solo queuing in rank or duo queuing in rank, don't play Little Girl. You only want to play this character if you have a 4-person VC team which you can communicate with, and she's also very situational in tournaments. If you're able to combine with a character like Wildling or Merc, obviously that's very good. But if not, then it's just like it's not good against her. Like she's not good against Geisha because Geisha can easily hit like a Merc or something. Also Anne, not very good against Anne. She's pretty good at kiting against Anne, but not very good against using her combined ability against Anne. So yeah, I think A+ and A- is better than having T tier. Gravekeeper is not B. Gravekeeper is definitely higher. Yeah. But Little Girl is very situational. You need good communication with your teammates. So don't play Little Girl if you're solo queuing or duo queuing in rank. Okay, moving on to the next survivor in A- tier, which is Thief. Actually, Thief is kind of A. Thief is A. Screw it. Not Thief. We'll keep Thief around here a little bit longer. Okay, next survivor in A- tier is, let's see, who do we have? Okay, yeah, next survivor in A- tier is Weeping Clown. So Weeping Clown is actually not bad. Is Clown really that good? So Clown is not bad. He is a bit situational, but he's not bad. Because he's good against something like Clerk. He's very good against Clerk. He's good against transition, counter-central against transition kiters, right? So he's pretty good against Bon if you're able to make distance. He's good against Clerk. Not too good against Nightwatch or Dreamwitch, but he's good late rounds when you could ban those hunters. And he's just really good against Clerk. That's mainly the reason why Weeping Clown is a viable character. He has good transition kiting abilities. Any character that has good transition kiting abilities is usually a good character. Usually, for the most part. It depends on their actual abilities, but for the most part, it's pretty good. So Weeping Clown has good transitional abilities, and that's what makes him pretty good. It's that simple. He can also stun potentially to waste some time, which can also be game changing to allow for the Cypher Machine to potentially be primed as well. So that's also pretty important. What is that app? This is just an online tier list. If you just search like Identify tier list maker or something, it'll come up. All right. Moving on to the next character in A-, Postman. Postman is obviously his decoding letter is not as strong as it used to be. It's only A tier. I would say it's around an A- tier level. Before Postman was A tier. Now he's at A- tier level. Because his decoding letter is only 10% for both survivors. But the gate opening speed letter is still very good. That can also be very relevant or very important in the meta as well. Just opening gates very fast is just very good. But yeah, besides that, it's just the decoding letter is not as strong as it used to be. A character like Composer is just better now. So yeah, Postman is just an A- tier survivor. Okay, next survivor in A- tier. Let's see here. There's gonna be a lot of A+ characters, guys. I'm just letting you know. A+ is gonna have the most characters for sure. So just keep that in mind. I actually think we're out of A. I think that's all the A minus tier for the most part. Oh no, Wildling. Wildling's A minus. Okay, the next character in A minus tier is Wildling. So Wildling is obviously on board. Wildling is very good, and it's just an unchaseable character, which allows for rotation, and he's also can't get cut off from a distance if he's on his board, so that's very good. So he's just an unchaseable character, which makes him very good as well. He's good against Bloody Queen as well. Yeah, just Weaving Clown's good against Bloody Queen. But yeah, Wildling is just A minus because he's unchaseable. Not a great rescuer against a good camping hunter, but overall he's just sort of A minus because he doesn't have great rescuing abilities, but he can't get cut off, which is nice. And he's also an unchaseable character, which makes him good that way. Last character in A minus tier is Journalist. Where's Journalist? Here. Okay, Journalist is pretty good. Mech is actually surprisingly very good right now, and we'll get to that in a minute. But Journalist is A minus tier. Obviously, she has good rescuing ability. It's hard for her to get stuffed, but her kiting is not too strong. If it's a hunter that can sort of play around the pallet, then it's not a problem for them. Or if it's not a god pallet, the hunter can just go around the pallet. So camping the pallet with little bro is not actually always the best. But also her rescuing is pretty good against camping hunters like Bonbon. So Bonbon may become not as strong with Journalists being allowed. I'm not really sure. So her rescuing is pretty good, but her kiting, she can still get killed relatively quick. So her kiting is not always good against certain hunters. And yeah, she's not good against Dream Witch. She's not that good against Clerk. Actually, she's bad against Clerk because Clerk can just bait the pallet drop very easily and get a free recording. Because you can just break the pallet, get a pallet break recording. And then against characters like Nightwatch, not too great either. Against characters like Geisha can just bait them to drop the little bro to drop the pallet and then dash over the pallet. Nightwatch can just hop over the pallet. So yeah, there's just a lot of ways that Journalist is not good in this meta. So yeah. Yeah, Journalist is not... I mean, A minus is strong, guys. A minus is not bad at all. It's just like, in this current meta, in a different hunter meta, definitely she could be A plus tier. But in this current meta, it's not as good. Okay, moving on to the next tier, which is A plus tier. First character in A plus tier is Thief. Because Thief counters Clerk. Thief might be moving down to A minus now, actually. Thief's sort of, he's on the verge of A minus or A plus. We'll leave an A plus for now because Thief is so annoying to play against. Thief is really annoying to play against, so we'll leave an A plus for now. Thief counters Clerk straight up. She has no counterplay. And then Thief can actually be good against some other hunters as well. Characters that Thief would typically be bad against, like Wax Artist, you can still kite well. You can just stop their wax. There's nothing they can do. So Thief is good. Thief is very good on Red Church. You can put a flashlight at the window, so when the hunter vaults, you can stun them to make distance. You can do it at the graveyard window on Ever Sleeping Town. Any strong window is just very good. You can do it at the upstairs window of Leo's Memory Factory. So Thief can just be very good in general. But yeah. A bit late, what are your thoughts on Journalists using Mini Orpheus as a body block? Yeah, it's fine. Perfectly fine. But obviously sometimes you can still get hit, so you have to be careful. How much does this Survivor annoy me as a hunter? So yeah, Thief is not bad. Counters Clerk and is decent on... He's good on certain maps and is decent against certain hunters. So Thief is so annoying. Thief is actually quite good, though. Okay, next hunter Survivor in A plus tier. I don't want to spend 5 years on this list. It's Gravekeeper. Gravekeeper recently got buffed. He used to be A minus tier, but he recently got buffed where the shovel can actually absorb chip hits. Instead of if you get chipped, normally you get knocked out of shovel right away. Now you no longer do that. So that actually makes Gravekeeper pretty good. So he's again, the biggest issue is Gravy used to be very bad against characters like Bonbon. and now that's no longer an issue. So he doesn't get countered by Bonbon anymore. So Grave just becomes A+ tier. And it's just a good stable rescuer overall. First Officer still is a little bit better because he can't get stuffed with a pocket watch, whereas Grave potentially could. But Grave is still quite strong in this current meta. Next character in A+ tier is Batter. Batter is good against Night Watch. Obviously, you can use the ball to turn off the wind. He's good against Geisha, and he can actually be good against Naiad as well. When they pull back the Trident, you can just run out of the water area, and then you can just hit the Naiad back, and so you can avoid getting hit. And then on top of that, if she goes for a dash, you can hit her back to cancel her dash while she's in swim form. So Batter can be good against those 3 meta hunters in particular. And he's also just a good support character in general, so that definitely makes him A+ tier. Against 3 thieves once? Yeah, that's pretty bad. Okay. Next survivor in A+ tier is... Actually, Embalmer's even higher in A+ tier. Next one is... Actually... Coordinator. So Coordinator is A+ tier because Coordinator is obviously a very good rescuer against Bonbon. Is very good rescuer against something like Wax Artist. Any hunter that doesn't have like fast mobility, Coordinator is very good because you can shoot, make a lot of distance when kiting, or you can shoot and you can allow the rescued survivor to make a lot of distance. So very good against something like Wax Artist, very good against something like Bonbon. And yeah, not too good against things like Night Watch or Geisha or Dream Witch, but is also pretty good against Clerk as well. So you do have a lot of options with Coordinator. Coordinator is very good late round. Is good in general. You can just avoid. It's pretty good against Naiad as well. If Naiad tries to poke the Trident, force you to run in the open, you can use Flare Gun to avoid a hit as well. So Coordinator has ways to play against Naiad as well. So definitely, Coordinator is A+ tier survivor. Also has a long extended share time. And vaults windows and pallets 10% faster. So that's also useful as well. So it's a rescue character. Coordinator is a rescue character that doesn't have a debuff unless someone's on share, which is nice. And then also is very good in a map like Sacred Heart Hospital. You can rescue, shoot, and allow the survivor to transition into hospital and kite hospital. So it's pretty good as well. Painter is just bad. I don't know what to tell you. Painter is just really bad, unfortunately. In high tier. I stand by that. I really do. Okay. Next survivor in A+ tier is... let's see. Next survivor in A+ tier... Think about this for a second. Entomologist. Actually, you know what? No. Professor. Next survivor in A+ tier is Professor. So Professor has actually become round 1 meta. And the reason why Professor is A+ tier is he's good against a few hunters. Ranker B. Because most people are just like, oh, Coordinator's so basic. They think of her like she's basic. But Coordinator is Coordinator's A+. Coordinator's good character. Coordinator's used in tournaments. It's used in China. It's used in Japan. It's used in NAU. Coordinator is used everywhere. Coordinator has always been used everywhere. Coordinator has always been a good character. Anyone who puts Coordinator B tier doesn't really understand. It's a good character. Anyways, Professor. Okay, so Professor is found the way into the meta because Professor is actually good against Night Watch, right? So think about it. Professor actually counters Night Watch because for a few reasons. One, you use the wind ability to pull the Professor close to you, and you just use Professor Scales, which is very good to avoid getting hit, and you can kite it out very easily that way. On top of that, your teammates can also pick up the Scales, which they can use to kite against Night Watch as well. Single hunter like Night Watch is going to struggle against something like Professor. Professor also counters Geisha. So you have Professor to counter Geisha. You can help your teammates counter Geisha as well. Professor is good against Naiad as well, because obviously Naiad swings very fast, but Professor slows down the hunter's swing, so you can instant scale. Your teammates now are not very good at using skills against Naiad because of how fast Naiad's swing is, but Professor is self-can. So Professor's good against Naiad, he's good against
Geisha and he's good against Nightwatch. And that's what makes him good, is that he's just good against all those characters, and that's what sort of allowed him to find his way into the current meta. Also, is pretty good against Clerk, too. Yeah, a lot of people are sort of like, oh, I can just bring Excitement to counter corner. Well, if they're bringing Excitement, then they lose their Blink. So, it's not that good for the Hunter, unfortunately. Yeah, survivors are really dependent on what hunters are good for the most part. That's sort of how the meta plays out. Is survivors are good depending on what hunters are good. Like that. So yeah. Okay, next character in the A+ tier is Toy Merchant. So Merchant is very good on Chinatown, very good on Eversleeping, very good on Moonlit. Very good on Lakeside. Very, very good on Lakeside. Cracked on Lakeside. Very good on Leo's Memory. And pretty good on Sacred Heart Hospital as well. Not good on Church or Arms Factory, but nobody cares. Okay, so Merchant is... The best maps for Merchant is Lakeside, Chinatown, and Leo's Memory. So Leo's Memory Merchant's very good because you can put a catapult middle and they can jump on it to jump up the ramp into Factory. She's very good on Lakeside because she can just loop Lakeside Big Boat for so long, there's nothing the hunter can do. And then she's very good on Chinatown because of Hotel, which is the corner building, which you can loop that for a long period of time. Or even the other two-story. If you get on a catapult while you're in the other two-story, you fly so high, you get so much distance. It's insane. So that's why Toy Merchant is very good. On Chinatown, Leo's Memory have been very common meta maps, and that allows Toy Merchant to be very good on those types of maps. Very good against Clerk as well. So Toy Merchant is just a very good character. Toy Merchant is less so dependent on what the hunter is, and more so dependent on what the map is. Okay, next character in A+ tier is... Where is it? Barmaid. Okay, so Barmaid A+ tier, obviously, pretty self-explanatory. Barmaid's very good against characters like Clerk and Dreamwitch. Pretty good against Naiad as well. Not as good against Nightwatch or Geisha because they can get hits, back-to-back hits relatively fast. But any hunter that takes a while to get 2 hits in a row, Barmaid's going to be good against. So Naiad can sometimes take a while to get 2 hits in a row. You can also use your speed drink to get out of the water zone. Very good against Clerk because once you take the hit, you can pretty much always get your heal off before the Clerk catches up. Very good against Dreamwitch because you can just use your heal before they're able to get another patrol or stuff like that. Sorry. So that's what makes Barmaid good. Very good against certain hunters in the current meta. Next character in A+ tier is Composer. Composer I might be putting a little high. He might not actually be this high, but so far from what we've seen of Composer is actually very good. Composer has the ability to be a good kiting, decoding character. The ability to promote Cypher Rush Composer promotes Cypher Rush very well. Composer is very good on maps that have very good, strong kiting areas. Like, some maps have, like, single areas that are very good at kiting. So, like, Lakeside Village Big Boat, or Hotel, which is, like, the corner building on Chinatown, or Leo's Memory Factory. Because you can just play Composer, a good decoded character, and you can throw them in that very good kiting area, and plus they have good kiting abilities, and they can just kite for a long period of time there, and they can 3-cypher kite as a decoded character. And if the hunter doesn't want to chase them because they're in a good kiting area, then they get Cypher Rush because it's a decoded character. So definitely Composer has seen a lot of viability. I might have a bit high. I think you're right. I think Composer is probably more somewhere middle A+ tier. Yeah, I think you're right. Well, Composer is a little bit more mid A+ tier, but Composer is actually quite strong in the meta. And so that's because he just has the potential to kite and promote Cypher Rush. If you don't want to chase him, then you get Cypher Rush. If you do want to chase him, then you got to chase him in a good kiting area, and he's good kiting abilities. So that's why he's A+ tier. But I feel like Embalmer's being forgotten. He's not being forgotten. He's actually the next character. So the next character in A+ tier is Embalmer. Embalmer is very good. If you watch Japan and China, Embalmer is used a lot, especially in Japan. Embalmer is a very strong character in a meta where hunters have become slightly better because of the ban system. The ban system benefits hunters more than anything. Embalmer is very good for securing draws and also for securing extra escapes. Embalmer is a very consistent survivor. Is very good in general. On maps like big 2-story maps like Side Village, you can throw him Big Boat. You can throw him Hotel. He's just really good. He's good against Dream Witch. He's good against Clerk. And he's good against good camping hunters with limited mobility. So he's good against things like Wax Artist, Bonbon, Sculptor, stuff like that. RC go round 1 Embalmer. Yeah, so some of the Japan teams will go round 1 Embalmer. Because Embalmer is just it's so hard for hunters to ever win against Embalmer. Because even if you chase Embalmer first, he dies away from Coffin, he coffins back to Big Boat, and then you go back in Big Boat on Lakeside Village or just any good kiting area on any map. You go back and you kill him. It doesn't matter. Because literally, like, nobody goes for rescue, which means the hunter's not getting extra presents, and they can all just continue to push ciphers over and over and over, and the cipher rush is so fast. So that's why. Hotel in Chinatown is the building which has a breakable window. Yeah, it's the one that has the really strong pallet, and the 2 really strong pallets, the one downstairs and the one upstairs. And so Embalmer is just very good on certain maps and also just good for securing ties in general. Okay, next character in A+ tier is Entomologist. Obviously, we see Entomologist is just really strong. Has overall just been very good for many reasons. Obviously, it's going to get characters like Geisha. It's going to get characters like Anne, Sculptor, Clerk. Pretty good against Night Watch if utilized properly. Entomologist is just very good for supporting your teammates' kites, supporting rebound kites. Entomologist is a good kiter in general. It's really self-explanatory, not much to say there. Next character in A+ tier is, I think we're going to go either Prospector or Patient here. Actually, I think Mechanic. Yeah. Next character in A+ tier is Mechanic. So we've seen Mechanic, for some reason, even after Mechanic's doll got nerfed, Mechanic has just become so popular, even in Japan and even China. Mechanic's Cipher Rush is still insanely fast. The ability just to decode 2 cipher machines at one time is so hard for hunters to deal with. It's so hard for hunters to deal with. And you can literally just make it so you need 1 less cipher to win the game, basically. Mechanic's Cipher Rush is just very good. And it's pretty self-explanatory. Just being able to do 2 ciphers at one time. There's also a lot of nice plays you can set up with Mechanic. For example, if you have a Mercenary and Mechanic on the same team, Mercenary can search a chest and then drop his elbow pads on the chair as he rescues, and Mechanic can grab the elbow pads and use them to rebound kite. And then Mercenary can pick up the bot, and then Mercenary can be the one using the bot to decode. So the Cipher Rush remains intact, and the Mechanic can continue to rebound kite. On top of that, Mechanic does not vault at any debuff, because as long as she has the vaulting trait, as well as her only 15% vaulting decrease, so it becomes 0. So Mechanic is just still good. Mechanic is still good, guys. I promise you. And yeah, next character in A+ is Patient. Patient is very good kiter against, actually, we're going to go Prospector first. Next character is Prospector. So Prospector obviously got nerfed, but he's still good. Obviously, his stuns are not good. His kiting isn't quite as strong as it used to be, but he still has the ability to help survivors struggle free. He still has the ability to waste a lot of time. He still has pretty decent kiting against certain characters. He's pretty good kiter against Night Watch, which is obviously one of the most common hunters in the game right now. And yeah, if you die in areas far away from chairs like Upstairs Hotel, this is another character. So Prospector and Antiquarian are very good if the survivor dies in the hotel building on Chinatown. Prospector can help survivors struggle free. He can waste a lot of time for decoding, and yeah, if you die in areas far away from chairs like Upstairs Hotel, this is another character. So Prospector and Antiquarian are very good if the survivor dies in the hotel building on Chinatown. Prospector can help survivors struggle free. You can waste a lot of time for decoding,
Good kiter against Night Watch, A+ tier. Yeah, there's not much mechanic that can drop mechanic. Next character in A+ tier is Patient. And Patient is, again, just very good transition kiter. As long as you're able to keep enough distance against Night Watch, Patient's a good first kiter. He's not good at second kiting Night Watch, like the second kiter of the game, because Night Watch already has presence. He can dash to catch up to Patient quickly. But if he doesn't have presence and he only has the wind ability and the fast walk ability, then then Patient's very good because you can just hook and keep making distance, and then that's very strong. On top of that, he's also good on 2-story maps like Chinatown, Ever Sleeping Town. Very good on Leo's Memory because he can hook himself up the ramp into Factory. And yeah, Patient, just a very good transition kiter. Also very strong at kiting Clerk, incredibly strong at kiting Clerk, incredibly strong at kiting Bonbon, very good at kiting Sculptor, good at kiting Naiad. If Naiad waters off an area, you can just hook away from it after she pulls back the wait for her to pull back the trident and then hook away. Just very good kiter in general. Okay, next character in A+ tier is I think either Officer or Acrobat. Let me think. Officer is just such a consistent rescuer in this meta. Acrobat's very versatile, but we'll go Acrobat as next. It doesn't really matter. They're both around high A+ tier. Next character in A+ tier is Acrobat. Acrobat is just extremely great kiter, extremely versatile, and just good at kiting most hunters. Good at kiting Dream Witch. Good at kiting. He's not bad at any, like, nothing counters him. Like, he can kite Night Watch, he can kite Geisha, he can kite Dream Witch, he can kite Clerk, he can kite Bloody Queen, kind of, depending on the situation. He can kite Bonbon, Sculptor. Acrobat can kite everything. That's what makes Acrobat so good. He's so versatile. He's literally not weak to anything. So you can just pick Acrobat at any point and he'll be fine, The only character he maybe isn't good against is like Soul Weaver, because Soul Weaver's hella fast. But besides that, like, he's good against just like every character. And yeah, just extremely versatile. Makes him an A+ tier survivor. Not much else to say there. You can use your Red Bomb to help survivors rescue against Bonbon as well, which is very good. What's up, Ginger Jack? How's it going? And Slow Bomb in narrow kiting areas is very good for creating distance. Just extremely versatile. Great character overall. Okay, next character in A+ tier is First Officer. First Officer is just obviously very consistent rescue character. Cannot get stuffed as long as you use your watch, so it makes it guaranteed rescue against Bonbon. Good rescue against Sculptor, which obviously we don't see Sculptor as much, but still is around occasionally. Yeah, I mean, just a great rescuer overall. Very safe rescuer. Similar to Mercenary, very safe rescuer. Not quite as good in big maps because it's hard for him to get around the map, whereas Mercenary can elbow pad. Officer cannot, but he can still get around the map. He can still rescue very safely. He can rescue twice, which makes it very good. He can rescue once and use his watch for the second rescue because he can absorb it with Tide Turn and still get the save off. So say this Cyber Machine's primed, almost primed, you can use watch to get a second rescue, and that's just very good. Sometimes you can bait them to hit the chair as well because they can't see you necessarily. And yeah, just a very good rescuer, a very safe rescuer overall. First Officer is high A+ tier. Next character in A+ tier is Female Dancer. Dancer is really good because against Night Watch. Slow boxes are so hard for Night Watch to deal with. If you put down a slow box and then put a pallet over the slow box, he can jump the pallet over and over, but he's just slowed down so much. It's very easy for Dancer to tight kite Night Watch. Once he has to stop to break the pallet, then he has to stop to break the box. You make a lot of distance. Since he doesn't have presence yet, it's very hard to deal with. You saw in the match we were watching earlier on the stream where we saw the female dancer that Joggy was playing be very good against that Sculptor. And you can see why Dancer is just... Yeah, there's a lot of really good survivors in the meta right now. And you see why Dancer is just very good. Literally, slow box, throw a pallet over the slow box. GG. It's so broken. I mean, it's slow broken. The hunter has to break the pallet very slowly because of the slow box. Then break the slow box. You get so much distance. It's just so good for you as a survivor. So, yeah. Female Dancer, very good supporter, very good kiter. High A+ tier for sure. And the next character in A+ tier and the final character in A+ tier is Psychologist. And Psychologist is almost S tier. It's kind of like right on the verge of S and A+ tier. But Psychologist is just very good. Obviously, again, Psychologist isn't really bad against anything. She can just take 3 hits. That's just breaks the game. I mean, any character that can break the game, take more than... can take extra hits like that is just so good. She literally just takes 3 hits, which is very strong. If you play against a thing like Naiad, you just take 3 basic hits as long as you don't get watered. It's a 3-cipher kite. It's just that good. She can heal survivors from across the map. Batter's A+ that he's almost never used in tournaments. It's because he's A+ now. He's gonna start being used in more tournaments, I think. In that he is good against Night Watch. Then once Antiquarian gets auto banned because of the lock-ins in the first round, if you choose Anti in the first round, then you can pick Batter in later rounds. So I think Batter is situational. He's sort of on the verge of A+ and A-, but I think he's definitely an A+. I think he's a bit underrated. But Psychologist is very good because, yeah, just you can take 3 hits, you can heal survivors from across the map. Think about it this way. Antiquarian goes to harass, right? But she gets hit while harassing. Well, the Psychologist can heal her and she can still go for a rescue. Or the rescuer can go for a save. Psychologist just heals them and they just go for a second rescue. And you don't lose any cipher progress because you don't have to trade off cipher machines. So I personally wouldn't put her on the top of A+. No, I promise you, Psychologist is extremely good in the meta right now. She's always used, she's almost S tier. Like, it's really close. She's either S or A+. It's one of the two. That's how, I promise you, that's how good she is right now. But we'll put her on top of A+. Yeah, but Batter's good against Night Watch. So, yeah. All right, but Psychologist, yeah, it's just like a harasser goes to harass. They take a hit while harassing. They get healed. They can save anyways. Or she can heal the rescuer. Or she can take 3 hits, which makes her a good kiter. Yeah, Japan and Korea use her a lot. China doesn't use her as much, but Japan and Korea use her a lot. Use him a lot. Use Batter a lot. And Psychologist, but yeah, Psychologist is just very good. Okay, moving on to the next tier, which is S tier. First character in S tier is Forward. And Forward used to be... Let me just make sure... Oh, okay, I accidentally just moved Mind's Eye up. Let me just make sure we didn't forget anything here. Yeah. Okay, so moving on to the next tier, which is S tier. First character in S tier is Forward. Forward obviously used to be one of the best characters in the game, but Antiquarian is just like better because she has no decoding debuff. But Forward is still very good. He does have a decoding debuff, but he's still a very good rescuer. You can stun on share against characters like Bon Bon. You can harass, very good harassment character. You can stun the hunter while after their attack recovery to allow the survivor to make distance. A lot of ways Forward can be very good. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I shouldn't have to explain Forward. Definitely is S tier. He is bottom of S tier, but he's obviously still an S tier survivor. Yeah, so Forward. Okay, next character in S tier is Antiquarian. So Antiquarian is not... I'm trying to think of... Actually, it's Merc. I think it's Merc here. I think we go Merc Anti here. Because Merc, you don't necessarily have to pick. So Mercenaries... Okay, Mercenaries will be the next one, and then... Antiquarian. We're going to do it like... this is actually really tough. This is actually really tough. Yeah, Forward felt pretty bad. He's still S tier, but this is really tough. Anti's just so strong against Night Watch. I think Anti might be number 1. Yeah, we're gonna go like this. Okay, so next character in S tier is Mercenary. Mercenary is obviously the best rescuer in the game. Obviously, he's not like the best character in the game because if you can let him get banned and you can still pick first officer and it's still perfectly fine. But yeah, just a very safe rescuer overall. It's not Hunter can't chase him. Elbow pads are very good. Self-explanatory. Mercenary is incredibly good rescuer. He can save twice as long as it's not a chip hunter. And yeah, Mercenary is S tier survivor, best rescuer in the game. Next character in S tier is Priestess. Priestess is a very good support character. Obviously, in maps like Eversleeping Town, Chinatown, Priestess is very good. The long portal, allowing survivors to escape the hunters in general, is incredibly strong. There's a lot of nice setups you can do with Priestess as long as you have good communication, good support. Priestess combos very well with characters like Barmaid, characters like Dancer, because you can use portals to help the survivors kite to where the Dancer boxes are set up, things like that. So many ways Priestess is good. Not good on Arms Factory, but good on pretty much every other map. Sacred Heart Hospital, Chinatown, Eversleeping Town, etc. People take excitement for Anti alone. Yeah, also Anti is just really good against Nightwatch too, so she's we'll get to Anti in a second. Next character in S tier is Seer. Seer obviously still one of the most commonly banned characters in the game. Seer is very good against single hit hunters such as Nightwatch, such as Geisha, such as Dreamwitch, such as Clerk, such as literally every hunter in the game except for Bon and like kind of Sculptor, but is still actually pretty good against Sculptor, surprisingly. Seer's not very good at kiting Bon, but besides that, is good against pretty much every other hunter in the meta. Seer is one of the most auto-banned characters in the game. When I say auto-banned, one of the most banned characters. So yeah. And so that's Seer. Yeah, it's definitely more interesting to see a good forward play, I would say, for sure. What's up, Joggy? Joggy, we were just talking about you. Go back and watch the stream a little bit. We were watching the YHB matches. Okay, the final character and the best character in the game in S tier is Antiquarian. Yay! Who would have thought? Antiquarian is extremely versatile, very good. Antiquarian is so versatile, it's insane. Like, Antiquarian's not bad against anything, pretty much, for the most part. Like, she's good against Dreamwitch, Clerk, Naiad, Dreamwitch, Clerk, Naiad, Nightwatch, Geisha. Pretty good against Bon. Like, all the meta hunters, basically. She's literally counters all the meta hunters. There's a lot of ways. Oh, you had 190 ping? I thought it was over 200. Okay, I lied, guys. This ping was not over 200. It was 190. But that's still pretty impressive. With the playing on 190 ping is really hard. Yeah, Anti doesn't have a downside if you mess up your harass. And even if you give a free hit as an Antiquarian, Psychologist can still just heal you, and you can still rescue. Like, that's why it's so good, right? So, you know, there's a lot of ways where Antiquarian is just so good. On top of there's so many different maps where Antiquarian is broken. Like, if you die in Hotel, upstairs Hotel on Chinatown, in the corner of that area, then the hunter can't even get the survivor to a chair because Antiquarian can harass. You can die inside church on Red Church. Antiquarian can come. You can die just in corner areas of the map. There's so many corner areas where hunters literally cannot do anything to deal with Antiquarian. Even after Antiquarian's nerf, she is still insanely cracked. Still one of the best survivors in the game. Probably the best based off of this tier list that we have. And she's just a very good kiter, a very good harasser, can rescue. She doesn't have a decoding debuff with that many abilities. It should be at least a 10% decoding debuff, but it's not. She can flip through the window. She can cancel patroller bites using the flip. Like, it's just so many ways where Antiquarian is just broken. Game changing. So here's the overall tier list here. The stupid ad is getting in the way, so it's kind of hard to see, but that's not what I meant to do. But anyways, yeah. So that's it. C to S tier. So that's season 27. Survivor tier list. I am going to upload this as a video on YouTube. So if you are watching on YouTube as a YouTube video, thank you guys so much for watching. Peace out. Have a great day. We're not ending the stream here. That's just for people who are watching on a YouTube video. But yeah, thanks for watching the video if you do watch this, because I will upload this separately as a video. But yeah. Also would rather chase a forward while Hunter would avoid Anti even after one man eliminated. True. Anti's just so annoying. She's pretty unhealthy for the meta. Yeah, I agree. She has less counterplay.